The highest highs and the lowest lows, they say. Mixed martial arts really has it all when it comes to excitement, drama, and heartache, as we've seen time and time again. As fans, we seem to be just as interested in what goes on outside the cage and following fighters on their personal journeys. With cameras at every corner, we truly get a glimpse inside the minds of these athletes and get to see the reality behind one of the most unforgiving sports on the planet. I'm Noel from Fight Game Insider, and this is Fighters Who Showed Their True Colors. Darren Till. Following his meteoric rise, it didn't take long for Britain's new undefeated MMA star to be granted his first title shot against then-champ Tyrone Woodley. It's no secret that this came sooner than it should have, and resulted in the contender being dominated and submitted. In his eagerly anticipated return fight against Jorge Masvidal, to the shock of most people, Till was brutally KO'd in the second round, leaving his career and next steps in question. Being one of the unlucky fighters who seems to sit just in between weight classes, it was at this stage Darren decided to move up to middleweight and would get back in the win column after a close but technical bout against Kelvin Gastelum. Till was always known for his outlandish behavior and unwavering confidence, but it was following this fight that the emotions took over and we got to see his true colors.
True color.
In a post-fight interview, Darren went on to say how he was so scared to get back in the cage and he was thinking of ways to fake an injury, and that the previous two losses had serious effects on the invincible mentality he once had.
It was hard, man. Like, even walking out there tonight, I was so terrified. I was scared, man. I didn't even want to go out there tonight. I was thinking of ways to like fake an injury, and I was just like, I'm getting a bit worked up saying it because it like sorry.
Personally, I'd like to see more fighters open up like this and be honest about their emotions. Unfortunately for Darren, he'd go on to string together a bad run of losses, but hopefully one day, we see him back at the top. Jon Jones. The man many would argue as being the actual greatest of all time, Johnny Bones Jones remains undefeated through a career dating all the way back to 2018, including 15 consecutive UFC title victories. 16 if you include the second Daniel Cormier fight. With a resume like no other, one would imagine this guy has an unbreakable mentality when in actual fact, people forget that he is still human.
I am human.
This shone through in an interview which saw Jones talk about the Dominic Reyes fight that many thought he lost.
I remember thinking to myself, hey, you've had a great career. You've done a lot of great things. This kid, he wants it. He's hungry for it. John, it's okay. It's okay if you come up short in this one. Like, just don't let him knock you out.
Jones admitted that during the fight he was having conversations with himself, essentially justifying the idea of taking a loss, in a way preparing him for what he believed to be a potential outcome as Reyes gave him the fight of his life.
First 3 rounds, Dominic Reyes was winning. Yeah. The question is whether he won the third round.
This was uncharacteristic for Jon and a rare glimpse into his vulnerable side, although he would end the speech saying that equally, the other side of his brain was like, F that. Chael Sonnen. Chael Sonnen, the original trash talk villain that in his own way changed the game. Prior to Conor McGregor, Sonnen was the first fighter to really make a mark in the sport through trash talk alone and managed to find himself in 3 title attempts, which he didn't really arrive at down to talent alone. Along with his microphone finesse came an aura of macho man, a guy who showed no weakness and never broke character. After coming up short in all 3 title attempts, he'd make a move to Bellator where he saw some success before retiring after a TKO loss to Lyoto Machida in 2019. It was at this post-fight press conference where the self-proclaimed bad guy showed his true colors when a reporter asked him,
Chael, one more question for you, and I apologize if this is a difficult one, but you wrote that great piece on ESPN and you're talking about how you made that promise to your father, and I'm just wondering if you could have a conversation with your dad right now, what do you think he would say to you?
I just tell him I tried.
Almost in tears, you can visibly see the heartache for a fighter to come so close to touching gold on numerous occasions, but never quite make it. In all fairness, the rest of the interview went pretty normally, and Chael soon returned to his confident demeanor. But this short snippet really puts into perspective what fighters go through in the name of greatness. Conor McGregor. When you talk about MMA characters, this guy is truly one of one. From the moment he burst onto the scene, he brought charisma like never before in an unmatched way with words. His mental foreplay would cripple opponents before even entering the cage.
Can somebody help me, please?
And this was a huge advantage he leaned into that helped him reach the top. However, as time went on and he started taking L's, people began to see through the act, and no moment was this more clear than the Khabib pre-fight press conference where he turned up drunk and the whole charade just felt forced. After losing that fight and taking some time off as he does, McGregor would return a new man against Dustin Poirier, and the mythical fighter Nice McGregor was born. Carrying a pleasant and respectful demeanor, he and Dustin would have the most civil press conference of the Notorious One's career, constantly bigging each other up and even exchanging gifts, with McGregor handing him a bottle of proper 12 and Dustin returning the favor with some of his hot sauce. In this fight, Conor would go on to suffer the first knockout loss of his career, and by the time the trilogy arrived, evil McGregor was back in full swing. Ah well, it was nice while it lasted.
This is my game. This is my game forever.
Dustin Poirier. The People's Champ Dustin Poirier, aka The Diamond, is one of the most authentically genuine guys on the roster, and just acts like himself 24/7 anyway. But he made it to this list based on the post-fight press conference following his first failed title attempt against Khabib Nurmagomedov. After putting together a 5-fight win streak, Poirier would find himself fighting for UFC gold, but after coming up short, emotions ran wild as we saw in this raw dialogue.
And build a solar power water well with a tower for the pygmy people in orphanage and school in Uganda, so I'm proud of that, you know. But I wanted to leave tonight the world champ and just let myself down, man.
His opponent Khabib would donate $100,000 to Poirier's charity, with Dana White matching it.
I hear he doing some charity stuff, and why I can't use this platform for this one. I'm gonna sell this t-shirt.
But despite Dustin acknowledging the kindness shown, it's obvious the pain of failure in achieving his dreams are too strong to hold back, as he talks about his journey almost breaking into tears. Will we ever see Dustin crowned the lightweight champ? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Paddy Pimblett. Rising star and self-proclaimed cash cow Paddy the Baddy Pimblett exploded onto the scene after building a huge name for himself in the promotion Cage Warriors, where he won the featherweight strap. Paddy's bowl cut, in resemblance to Jay from the In-Betweeners, made him stand out from the crowd, but it's his energetic personality and mic moments that gained him the following he has. Oh, and of course, his fighting abilities. Although he has been subject to criticism over being a quote-unquote McGregor wannabe, with much of the MMA community slandering him for trying too hard, at UFC London we saw a glimpse of the real Paddy as he used his moment in the spotlight to spread awareness on mental health after one of his close friends recently took his own life.
There's a stigma in this world that men can't talk. Listen, if you're a man and you've got weight on your shoulders and you think the only way you can solve it is by killing yourself, please speak to someone.
Personally, he gained massive respect from me that night, and it's a shame to see the hate he got after his last performance. Yes, there's a good argument for Jared winning, but all Pimblett did was show up to fight. It's the judges that gave him the W. Khamzat Chimaev. Boars, or the Wolf as many know him by, shot to fame after joining the UFC and taking back-to-back fights, each 10 days apart, and then a third fight just over 2 months later. Bouts he would finish in the first round, absorbing a measly 1 strike throughout. Along with his wrecking machine fast-paced, all-smash style, the Chechen developed a character about him which fans were drawn into, a personality that matches fighting style, where the guy clearly just liked to brawl. So when Khamzat had his first real test in the form of Gilbert Burns, where he edged out an extremely close decision, for a brief moment in time, the persona dropped, and we saw a more humble side to the Wolf.
I'm happy. These things I was waiting for a long time. I did 10 fights, 10 finishes. Didn't happen these things with me. Now I'm blooding. I'm tired. I feel a little pain. I love the
By the time of his next bout, he would be fully back in bad guy mode. But let's be honest, we love to see it. Joana Jedrzejczyk. Poland's own Boogie Woman rightfully earned her nickname when she came onto the scene, an undefeated prodigy that made it to the top, securing 6 consecutive title victories spanning from 2015 to 2017. As you can imagine with such a run, Joana grew extremely confident but more so, cocky. She believed in her Boogie Woman alter ego so much it would seep through in her demeanor and reach the point of just outright disrespect for her opponents. This was until she met her match at UFC 217 when she faced off against thug Rose Namajunas, who locked in a first-round TKO stoppage in just over 3 minutes. In a post-fight interview, Joana was understandably emotional, but for the first time, we saw what seemed to be her true colors. In an emotional message to fans, she paid respect to her opponent, taking a stoic approach appreciating that in the fight game, anything can happen. Tonight was just Rose's night. She also took time to commiserate with Cody Garbrandt, who also lost his O and the bantamweight title that night, as well as congratulating TJ Dillashaw on the victory. Colby Covington. If there's ever an athlete that switched up the persona simply to elevate himself in the sport, it's Colby Covington. I think at this point the majority of people understand that it's mostly an act, yet it doesn't make up for some of the things he says.
Confusion!
confusion.
Despite tickling a few nerves, all in all, fans tend to appreciate what Covington brings to the table in the form of entertainment and exciting fights. Well, usually. Yet there have been instances where Colby breaks character, and in this clip with a fan, his true colors are revealed, even if briefly.
What's up, brother? How are you? Of course.
Can I ask something real quick? Any advice? Or like
upcoming fighter?
Yeah.
Just you gotta commit your whole life to it, you know? And you gotta make the sacrifices daily, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I've been training since I was 17, but like, you know, it's just some advice from you know.
You truly love it, it's your passion, bro.
Yeah, it is, man.
You'll find a way.
It is.
You'll find a way. You put in the extra workouts, you'll do whatever it takes. You work on the boxing, you work on the wrestling, you work on the jiu-jitsu, and you'll find a way. Just believe in yourself. Never stop believing, my brother.
Thanks, man. I know you could live your life the way you want, but I think you should show this side of you more, the real humble, like, you know? I know a lot of people see that.
That's not what's up.
Yeah, but hey, man, it's more likable, I can tell you that much. Yeah, man. Alright, good luck, man. God bless you, man.
Love how the kid calls him out, saying this version is more likable. Just goes to show that behind closed doors, he ain't a bad guy after all. And that just wraps it up for today's video. Big up to all our channel supporters. If you're new here, be sure to subscribe and head kick the bell icon to be notified each time there's a new upload. I'm Noel from Fight Game Insider, and until next time, see ya!